guys, Star Wars The Mandalorian is back in action. It has been, what, 2 years since the ending of Season 2? Oh, can you guys believe that? It has been, it feels like an eternity since The Mandalorian Season 2 ended. I know, technically, The Mandalorian ended with the Book of Boba Fett show, but for me, the adventures of The Mandalorian and Grogu really did end with Season 2. And while both Mandalorian and Grogu were in the Book of Boba Fett show for the last 3 episodes, it didn't feel like it was the same thing. And I'm just like, yes, Star Wars The Mandalorian is back. Guys, I will be completely honest with you guys. If it wasn't for Star Wars The Mandalorian, I would not be subscribed to Disney+. Let me say that again. If it wasn't for Star Wars The Mandalorian being on Disney+, I would not be subscribed to it. I would not have subscribed to it to begin with, and I wouldn't still be subscribed to it. And this show, along with a lot of other stuff that has been put onto the platform for Star Wars content, is primarily the only reason I still have the service. If it wasn't for Star Wars, I would not watch anything on Disney+. And I wouldn't review other things on Disney+. And I am planning on reviewing other things coming out onto Disney+, in the future here this year, like the new Peter Pan and Wendy movie that's coming out in April. God, I'm so bored of Peter Pan remakes. It's the same story told a million times over. Moving on from that subject, though. So, Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3, this is going to be for Episode 1. There is confirmed that there's going to be 8 episodes, and I will be reviewing every single episode separately, along with me reviewing Star Wars The Bad Batch. Now, I know I've said this in prior Star Wars The Bad Batch reviews. Hopefully, somehow, when Bad Batch Season 2 ends, there might be some sort of like connection or crossover between The Mandalorian and Bad Batch. Yes, I know there's like a 30 to 50 year time gap of sorts between both shows because of when they take place. But possibly there's some sort of crossover, and I would really enjoy that. So, also I want to state, Season 4 has been confirmed. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have said they've already finished writing Season 4. So it shouldn't be too long before we get Season 4 to get released. With that in mind, of course, means that The Mandalorian can't die in Season 3. They literally just confirmed that Season 4 is already planned. And I'm sure they're hard working at getting that out as fast as possible. So the biggest negative I want to talk about when it comes to Episode 1, titled The Apostate, is that it did not feel like Mandalorian. And what I want to elaborate when I say this didn't feel like The Mandalorian is it felt more like a recap episode. And it felt more like Star Wars The Greatest Hits. It didn't feel fresh. It didn't feel new. It didn't feel innovative. This episode felt very safe. It felt Disney-fied safe. We get some awesome moments, and I'm going to go over that in this video. We get some awesome moments and some awesome characters and some awesome creatures and whatnot. But this episode, as it stands by itself, if you've watched Season 1 and 2, and then you watch the Book of Boba Fett Episodes 5, 6, and 7 specifically, and then you jump right into this, it feels like a recap. Like if you just binge-watched Season 1, Season 2, Book of Boba Fett Episode 5, 6, and 7, and then you watch this, you're like, this is a waste of time. This episode would feel like 30 to 40 minutes of a waste of your time. Because you're like, okay, I know this character. I know that character. I've seen this. I've seen big, gigantic Fighticons. I've seen this gigantic monster terrorizing Mandalorians or whoever. And they have to do some sort of jetpacking and try to figure out some sort of innovative way to take down the gigantic beast. I mean, there is a literal gigantic crocodile creature in here at the very beginning of the episode. And that's cool, but I'm like, okay, we had a gigantic monster fight at the beginning of Season 2. Are we supposed to expect when Season 4 comes out, the very first episode's going to start off with another gigantic monster fight? hello? You're literally reusing something that you used over 2 years ago. And while it's good to not try to break trends, it still feels really safe and samey. And that's what made The Mandalorian, especially the first season, such a standout hit, is that it pushed boundaries. It was innovative. It didn't play it safe. It was trying new things. We kind of lost that a little bit with Season 2. We lost that a lot with Book of Boba Fett. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. This season seems to be retreading the exact same problems that live-action Star Wars shows have been doing for 4 years now. Why? I haven't a clue. But it's starting to get on my nerves. Next negative I want to talk about. Cara Dune's character. Cara Dune. So the actress that plays the rebel ODST shock trooper for the Resistance, and now she's part of the New Republic. The actress that plays her is no longer working for Disney or Lucasfilm because of her statements put onto social media. And so this was one thing I was kind of curious as to how they're going to address her actions. Are they going to like completely gut her character, make it so like she never existed for the first 2 seasons? Are they going to kill her off? Is she going to be like in the show in some sort of like mini 5-minute clip and she gets killed off somehow in the show? And that's the end of her character? And they replace her with a different actress? Does her character continue just in the show with a different actress? Or does she not get any screen time at all and they just say she's off doing something else? Well, we went the route where she is now... She's not. The character is not on screen. They didn't replace the actress with another actress. They just make it so she is not going to be in the show, period, her character anymore. And that she just ended up getting promoted. She joined the Special Forces unit within the New Republic. So that's the end of Cara Dune's character, which is kind of weird because of the ending of Season 2. It's like her character just is gone. It's just magically gone. Now, talking about Season 3, and I know this has probably been somebody's biggest concern and worry, is that at the beginning of Season 3, it does do a reasonable job reviewing the events of Season 1 and 2. However, it did not, it did not explain the events of the Book of Boba Fett. So if you do not, and I repeat, if you do not watch the Book of Boba Fett, you are going to be so confused as to what is going on in Season 3. If you go from the ending of Season 2, where Din Djarin takes his helmet off and he gives Grogu to Luke Skywalker, and then you jump right into this episode at the beginning of Season 3, you are going to be so confused. You aren't going to have a clue as to what is going on. Because with Book of Boba Fett, Episode 5, 6, and 7, Din Djarin and Grogu are reunited and they're together again. But if you don't watch those 3 episodes, you just watch Season 2, Grogu and Din Djarin are separate. When you start Season 3, Grogu and Din Djarin are together again. And you're like, huh? What did I miss? So, this season, specifically this episode, is going to force you to either have to have someone that watched the Book of Boba Fett explain those 3 episodes, or you're going to have to watch them. Because otherwise, you are going to be so lost. And I would probably advise you not to watch this episode until you watch those 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. You probably shouldn't watch Season 3 or anything else within this timeline until you do, because I feel like it's going to be important in some capacity. This episode has a lot of great jokes. We get a lot of cool Mandalorian and Death Watch lore. There's a ritual that happens. Then we get the gigantic crocodile monster fight. And the battle against it was awesome, especially when Mando and Grogu comes in and just blasts the crocodile's ass into paste. That was a lot of fun. And I will say, it is kind of weird that Grogu is still within the Mandalorian show. Like, the show finally seems to be focusing specifically on the Mandalorian, which is what the show was supposed to do to begin with. And I understand everyone's like, oh, looky, Grogu, he's so adorable, he's so cute! Yes, Grogu is cute. I mean, look, okay? Merchandising opportunity. It worked, okay? I mean, we literally have this guy. And it's got a when your song comes on hat, okay? I love Grogu. However, this show is called The Mandalorian. It is not called The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not called The Adventures of the Mando and the Grogu, okay? It was supposed to originally focus on Mandalorian, and the showrunners just used Grogu, or Baby Yoda, as a marketing toy, and it worked. But I think that Season 3 is going to finally hone in on what people really want from the Mandalorian show, and that's focusing on the Mandalorian. And so the purpose of Season 3 seems to be that Mando is going to go back to the home planet of Mandalore, and he wants to redeem himself so he can become a true Mandalorian and to become a true Death Watch member again. And I think he's going to lead a Mandalorian garrison or a Mandalorian army along with Bo-Katan and retake Mandalore. I think that is going to be the primary focus of Season 3, and I think that it will probably not happen in Season 3. I think there's going to be a lot of power struggles and a lot of other dangers that he's going to have to face before Mandalorians retake Mandalore, and I don't think it's going to happen until the show ends. It might happen at the end of Season 3, but I have a gut feeling that it's not going to happen until Season 4, and I feel like Season 3 is going to be more about Mandalorian fighting off pirates. It's going to be more about him fighting off new creatures, gaining new allies, exploring new planets, dealing with Grogu being a Force wielder and still with him and him growing up. And I think reclaiming Mandalore, since he has the Darksaber, is going to be something that happens in Season 4. And I feel like he's going to have to deal with the Empire becoming the First Order. I just feel like retaking Mandalore is going to be something that doesn't happen within this season. I might be wrong. That might speed things up. I hope not. I want more character growth. So there we go with that. We do get a glimpse of the hyperspace whales, which I thought was a really cool reference that they had in here. If you don't pay attention close to it and you don't understand Star Wars Rebels, you won't understand what the space whales that are in the hyperspace lanes are, and I think it's a really cool nod that this show is making another show still irrelevant, still canon. I wonder if they did that because of the Ahsoka show that's coming out soon. And they're supposed to go hunt down Ezra Bridger along with Sabine Wren, and the hyperspace whales are part of that. So we'll see if that matters at all. We get to see some new planets, some old planets. We get to see a bunch of old characters that we've seen in the past, a bunch of new characters as well. We also get to see what life is like being an independent planet. We get to see what people's lives are like without them being under Imperial occupation, under the control of the First Order. They're not having to deal with, space police from the Resistance or the New Republic. They're just living their lives in peace and tranquility. There's not constant fear of, death and despair. So I think it's really cool. I like the IG-11 statue, remembering that he, sacrificed himself by, self-exploding at the end of Season 1. Was really cool. We get to have a cool space dogfight at the very end against the pirates, which was really cool. I like how Grogu throughout this episode was able to just use the Force with ease. He's just able to spin this chair around that he's in constantly and just having fun. It was really cool. Not to see him constantly struggle to use the Force and then pass out. I'm happy that, his Force abilities are actually having some sort of progress and evolution throughout the show. Apparently, Reese's Pieces are also canon in the show, so if you paid attention to the candy he grabs, it's orange. And I was like, wait a minute, that's M&M's. I'm like, no, that's Reese's Pieces. I don't like Reese's Pieces, but it was kind of funny that they made orange pebble candy the size of a Reese's Pieces or an M&M. And I'm like, so Reese's Pieces are confirmed to be canon in Star Wars. I'm sorry, that was just really funny. So overall, I thought this episode was great, but like I said, it's just like, hey, remember this, remember that character, remember this place, remember these events. It just felt very recap-y. It felt like a recap episode. And at the end, I think it did a good job setting up what the season's going to focus on, especially when Din Djarin / The Mandalorian goes to see Bo-Katan in her castle, which I'm confused as to why in the world she has one, but whatever. He goes to see her, and she helps him make a decision on his path, and I feel like that's the purpose of Season 3, is Mando's going to go to Mandalore and attempt to redeem himself. So, overall, I am still excited for The Mandalorian Season 3. We got 8 episodes. I will be reviewing every single episode individually, and I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. I was considering giving it a 9, but the more I thought about it, I'm just like, it doesn't deserve a 9, and it doesn't deserve a 10. I constantly was fighting between the 8, 9, and 10, and we're like, you know what, no. I've seen a lot of this stuff before, and there's nothing really new. So, as a Season 3 Season 3 first episode, it was decent. Expecting a lot more. And I hope that that's what we get throughout the rest of Season 3. So, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree or disagree with me on anything I've said in this video? Are you guys excited for Mandalorian Season 3 to continue? Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys next video or stream.